Hare Krishna, my name is Raja Valasani and welcome back to You're Not That Body. Today I thought I'd do something a little bit different. We have a short story to share with you today. I've heard this story many times and it does differ a little bit, but basically the message is the same. So this is the story about the golden birdcage. Once upon a time, an old lady had a beautiful bird that she kept locked up inside an ornate golden cage. Every morning, the old lady would get up early and the first thing she would do is polish the cage to perfection, making sure there was no smudges, no fingerprints, and that everything was shining in the sun. And it always was the pride of her home. The beautiful caged bird would sing when it was first trapped. The melody would be heard throughout the neighbourhood, and everyone was interested to hear the little bird sing, and they were quite jealous of how beautiful the song was. The old lady loved her beautiful bird and even more the cage. Over time, the bird sang less and less, and the neighbours started to notice this happening. The cage was still shining, the song was still going, but it was fading. And the little lady didn't even seem to notice. The bird was becoming stressed, distressed, and unwell. She was so caught up in making sure that the cage was perfect that she forgot the poor little bird within inside. The bird you see is the representation of our soul. So it's the spark of the Lord within our heart who is within this cage of our material body. This covering or cage is trapping our soul within this material world. The old woman could be me. It could be you. We could all make this mistake and it's so very easily done and we see it every day. Sometimes we're so immersed in looking after our looks, so our hair, our skin, our nails, making sure our clothes are perfect and so on. It just goes on and on, doesn't it? So sometimes we forget what matters, which is the bird or the soul within the cage. I'd like to share a small part of a lecture that Srila Prabhupada gave quite some time ago. The spirit soul's needs must be fulfilled. Simply by cleansing the cage of the bird, one does not satisfy the bird. One must actually know the needs of the bird himself. The needs of the spirit soul is that he wants to get out of the limited sphere of the material bondage and fulfill his desire for complete freedom. He wants to get out of the covered walls of this greater universe. He wants to see the free light and spirit. That complete freedom is achieved when he meets the complete spirit or the personality of Godhead. So I just thought that was a really good one. It came up with a few things for me this week, so I thought it would be a good one to share. And I have some realizations that I'd like to share as well. We forget Krishna. It's quite well known. We acquire another material body and we suffer through this repeated cycle of birth, old age, disease and death. And to end our suffering, the only way that we can do this is to choose to serve Krishna. And the Vedic literature teaches us this. It teaches us that one who serves the Lord with his full energy and devotion and love is free of material bondage while still living in this material body. So we don't have to wait until we go back home to Godhead. We can be satisfied and fulfilled now and less miserable. We can come back to our loving relationship with Krishna, which is the most important thing. We can become undisturbed and work our way back to Godhead. Our life in the birdcage is that our material body can be pleasurable if we use it to serve Krishna in transcendental loving service. Because just as the bird became distressed and unhappy in this beautiful cage without nourishment and love, we will also suffer and wither. Human life is very rare, as we've come to learn, and to be in this body, this form, we're enwrapped in a coating of ignorance, and we can get out of this ignorance by learning that by loving service and going back home to Krishna, that is how we can become happy and end this suffering and this material cycle. It is up to each of us to choose to stop polishing the birdcage and take care of the suffering bird within. Now, in saying that, we must still look after this material body. We are still working within this body for quite some time. If we're unwell or unfit or can't get ourselves off the couch, then we'll be miserable in ourselves because we'll be aching and tired, but we'll also be unable to serve Krishna. And by being unable to serve Krishna, that means that we will remain in this cycle and we're not going to be progressing or advancing at all. So we'll still be miserable. So the only other thing I had today was I wanted to let you know that a lot of these teachings come from the Bhagavad Gita, which is one of the main spiritual texts, the Vedic knowledge. So if you'd like a copy, please contact me. I can send you a link to purchase one, or if you're on the Gold Coast, I can supply one, or there's also a preaching centre that's local that can help you out with that. That's all I have today. I'd just like to encourage you this week to have a little think about if you are nourishing your soul, or if you think that there's something more that you can be doing to take on some of this spiritual knowledge and to feel fulfilled and being able to serve Krishna. So if you'd like a hand with any of that, please contact me directly. We're all here to help. I've got others that can help you as well. And I look very forward very much to serving you. Hare Krishna.